Hello, good morning. Please confirm that you can hear me. Just type I can hear you. If you can hear me, please kindly confirm that you can hear me by typing on your on the comment section that I can hear you. Okay. All right. Okay. So I've been looking for ways to share slides. Um, okay, I think whether it's not enabled here. I'm looking for ways to if I can share the slide. But if I can't share the slide, I'll just go ahead and okay, if I can't share this slide, because I've been looking for ways for me to share this slide. If I can't share this slide, I'll just go ahead and do the presentation so you can take notes. I hope you are prepared to take notes with regards to the training for today. So in today's training, we're going to be having service delivery excellence. Um, Hold on, I'm reconfirming again. I can't see how the slides can be shared. I think it's not enabled here. Not enabled here. So I'll just go ahead and present. So, but just try as much as possible and take notes as much as you can. Possibly, if we'll see how we can convey the materials across, then we'll do that. But more importantly, it would have been much better if we could share the slide live. So, but I think that will be rectified in as we progress into all through the trainings for the uh, program. Okay, so now let's start quickly. The service delivery excellence training. In this training, particularly, we're going to be having introduction to service delivery, understanding a customer, understanding customer expectation. That is number 3. Then we're going to be talking about exceeding expectations with feedbacks. Then we're going to finally understand customer service and satisfaction. I will take that again. The 5 list of models we're going to be considering on this introduction to service delivery. That is 1. 2 is understanding a customer. 3 is understanding customer expectation. Customer expectation. Then 4 will be exceeding expectations with feedbacks. Then finally, 5 will be understanding customer service and as well as satisfaction. So now the learning outcome for this training is that all the participants are expected to have a redefined approach to service delivery, increase their productivity, and as well as their rapport with customers, and on the long run, which will be the effect of it, improve brand image and as well as have increased customer satisfaction for the organization. Now, let's quickly go into it for the time constraint because we have a lot to present this morning within the 2 hours timeline. So we have, let's start with service delivery. That's the introduction to service delivery. Now, what exactly is service delivery and what exactly is service delivery? We'll begin to think about it. But in a short note, I would say service delivery is an idea and a framework with an objective and an idea of an organization which has a framework or a system put in place to achieve, or with that, with an objective to achieve in providing a service to customers. So if I would put that together, I would say service delivery is a business idea and framework with an objective of providing services to a customer. I'll take that again. Service delivery is a business idea and framework with an objective with an objective of providing service to customers of an organization. Then another part, if we look at it from another perspective, we say service delivery also is an act of providing services to customers, which includes a set of principles. So you don't just provide services to customer. Please, I'm going to take that definition, but I want to explain it now. I'm going to take the second definition again. So it does not mean that because you're providing service, you just provide services anyhow. It is guided by principles. Then when we talk about principles, remember in this current day where we have consumer protection policies, these are principles that are governing the act of that service. Like if you are going to provide services within this sector, there's a standard that possibly maybe the industry has set or the government has set that you have to follow. then and also the organization has to set. Then we'll talk about the next one, which is standard for the organization, standard for the industry, as well as and the government. Then we'll talk about policies by the organization, policies by possibly the governing agencies of government. So you have to also take that into consideration. Then we talk about constraints developed by the organization. So these key things are govern these key things, these key set of things govern service delivery, which includes principles, standards, policies, and constraints. So constraints here are more like the kind of promises you can give to a customer. For instance, you tell a customer, I'm going to deliver within 24 hours. Why the estimated timeline, the approved timeline by the organization is 3 working days. And because you're under pressure, you feel that because you want to escape this particular customer, you just say, okay, I'm going to do it in 24 hours. Remember, they're going to take your word for it. And possibly, if there are other weaknesses there, you might get into issues because you have made promises that you cannot fulfill. There are people with, in other fields of where they relate with customers, like sales. Because you want to close sales, you fine tune it, and you say, okay, you know that this thing can be delivered. The least minimum day it can be delivered is within 3 working days. That's the least turnaround time. And you go ahead to tell customer, because you're under pressure by your sales supervisor to bring in sales, and you tell the customer, I will do it in within 24 hours. It means that you are contravening the policies of the organization. You also are going beyond your constraints. So now, but that does not mean that you cannot make those promises, but you have to do that in line with, by consulting with your supervisor. Is this thing achievable before you can make such? Because these things are for you to make such statements, or for you to make such commitments, or go beyond the constraints, you must carry your supervisors along, and they have to know, is it feasible or not. If it's not feasible, then they tell you that it's not feasible and you can't make such promises. Now, let me now take that second definition again. So putting this together, I'll say service delivery is the act of providing services to customers. It includes a set of principles, standards, policies, and constraints to be used to be used as a guide in the service process. So now, or to guide the service agents while they provide the services. So you can either of them, you can put it that way. Then, why do customers leave an organization? Because when one of the major, we might be saying why there are no clients and the rest of that. So now this brings us to the next slide. Why customers would leave an organization? Oftentimes it's tied to the service delivery or the quality of the product that they buy. So now, among the reasons of this is the second slide. Among the reasons that includes the reasons why customers leave an organization is poor customer service from the representative or the service agent. Secondly, better offers from the competition. Better offers from the competition. Hope I'm not going too fast. Because I'm also not going to go too slow, because we need to cover up a whole lot. We need to finish up this particular session of the training. Remember, the whole 2 weeks are already booked. So now, I'll take that. I'll take those points again. Why customers leave a brand, or leave an organization, or leave may leave an organization or the service that the organization provides. One is that there's a poor service from the service agent or the representative of the organization. Two is that there's a better offer from the competition. So meaning, if your organization is providing, like you are saying, yours is 72 hours to deliver, another organization is telling them 48 hours. You definitely, even as a customer, you definitely go with the one that's 48 hours. Then if it is cost effective, it is more valuable, then these are reasons why they want to move or port to the competition. Then thirdly, we talk about rigorous and frustrating processes. If the process of the organization is very frustrating, oftentimes you're going to see people move away from that particular organization, where they have to go and pay here, carry maybe the payment receipt here, move there. Then you keep turning people around from one desk to the other. So it can be very frustrating. But thank God that technology is coming in such that from the comfort of their homes, they can handle it. But if your organization is still, maybe the organization you are going to be working with is still within that process. So maybe as an agent, you could suggest ways of process improvement. So rigorous processes can frustrate a customer, and they may leave as a result of that. Then fourthly, feelings of being taken for granted. When you take customers for granted, maybe oftentimes they just come straight to the organization, or they prefer that you as a service agent will be the one to attend to them. Oftentimes it does happen where you find out that the customer says, oh, no, I prefer this particular person to attend to me. I don't want another person in the option to attend to me. So you don't take that customer for granted. That is one. Then secondly, that the customer is continuously patronizing the organization does not mean that they are going, that you take them for granted or you take their patronage for granted. Then we go ahead and talk about the next one that says feelings of, okay, that's unmet needs, expectations, and as well as standards of value. So these ones also can affect these ones can affect or why the customer would leave your organization and move to the next one. Then we'll move on to talk about finally, which is the sixth one, showing the interested customers that showing that you're only interested in the customer's money alone. You don't want such a scenario where you want to paint that you're only interested in the customer's money alone. Now let's move on to the other constraints where customers will leave. I will just run through that one quickly. That's poor communication methods with customers. You're not effectively communicating with your customers. Then we'll talk about poor engagement and loyalty retention strategy from the organization. Then poor feedback request. So the organization does not request for feedbacks, and as well as does not they don't request for feedback and they don't improve on their services. So then number 8 is that I think no, this is not number 8. Okay, so now the next one is that more attention or more attention on prospects conversion. So you focus or you put more attention on the new conversions instead of paying attention on the ones you already have. So the new customers do not matter. It's just only the new customers are the ones that you are important or that is very important to you, but you don't care about those who are not who you already have as customers. Now let's go on to talk about the things that turn customers off in the brand, which is more like the contact points and the touch points of their brands. They'll talk about unresolved complaints as well as service requests, then poor communication and presentation skills. Then we'll talk about poor personal hygiene and as well as unkept office space. If the office is not the office is not properly kept, where maybe the cleaners are not doing well enough, then issues like this can turn the customers off. Then we'll talk about unwelcoming and unexcited service agents. These things can turn a customer off. Then what customers will definitely want from you, who is a service agent? So we'll get to say now, what exactly would a customer want from you, who is the service agent? The list of the following list includes the things that a customer would want from you, and there are more also, but we're just make a list of these 7 items that a customer wants from you. One, they want you to listen to them. Every customer wants you to listen to them. Secondly, they want you to understand them. So when you listen to them, understand what they say. So you listen to them, understand them. Then thirdly, question them politely. So when you listen to a customer, your goal is to understand that customer. So if you don't understand that customer, you politely question the customer, which is the third one. Then the fourth one is know their needs or the wants, what the customer wants at that particular time, or what the need of that customer at that particular time. You need to be able to understand that clearly, so that you can always do that through questioning. When we started by listen to them, understand them, question them politely, know their needs versus their want, then treat their request with respect. Answer and resolve, which is the sixth one, answer and resolve customers' reported complaints. So you don't just ask those questions, get those information, and at the end of the day, you end up not providing any solution to the customer's challenge. Then finally, assist the customers through the resolution pathway. Don't just tell them, do this, do this, do this. And at the end of the day, you tell them to go and do it by themselves, but they don't know how to do it. Not all customers are enlightened about your processes. That's why a service agent to walk them through. So customers want you to walk them through the pathway, the resolution pathway. That's what they want. Now, when it comes to the organization, what exactly is the customers expecting from from your organization? Then the customers want a commensurate value for money. So if you are paying XYZ for a particular service or for a particular product, customers want value for whatever they are paying for. Then customers want you to be authentic and to keep to promise. That's secondly. Customers want you to be authentic and to also keep to promises. Then customers want consistency in standard. That's thirdly. Customers want consistency in standards and quality. Then fourthly, customers want you to do and deliver on what you have said. That's when you say a thing that you're going to do, customers want you to deliver on that. Then we'll talk about the next one, which says speedy and expedited issue resolution. Customers want you to excellently and speedily execute what they have requested for. So you don't just say, okay, we're going to deliver this within 24 hours. Oftentimes, people in organizations, it is safer to under promise and over deliver. You under promise and over deliver. And how is that done? For instance, if the organization says it is 24 hours, a minimum of 24 hours to deliver on this particular service, then what exactly is expected of the organization? They work to deliver less than that 24 hours, meaning they work to deliver less than, let's say, within 12 hours. And if they deliver that within 12 hours, the customer is wowed. If they deliver within 6 hours, the customer is wowed. That's exactly the goal. So the organization tends to underpromise and over deliver. Then consistency, finally, is consistency with the service and turnaround time. So now, meaning today, if it is 3 working days that the organization takes to deliver, let it be consistently 3 working days or less. Let it not be above. Let it not be today is 3 working days, tomorrow is 4 working days, next tomorrow is 5 working days, next tomorrow is 6. No, it has to be within that. Let's the standard, set the standard and let it remain the same. So that's what the organization, that's what the customers want from an organization. So now we'll discuss what the customer will want from you as a service agent, and as also what the customer will want from you as we want from your organization as well. So now let's compare. Let's compare feedback versus complaint. But definitely, we're going to talk about customers' feedback in the subsequent training. So we understand what exactly is customer feedback and how what exactly is customers' feedback and how do they impact organizations. We'll do that in subsequent training. But now let's compare feedback and complaints. What exactly is complaint and what exactly is a feedback? So now. Feedback provides that's for the feedback. Feedback provides honest opinion and suggestion on a specific concern of the customer. A feedback will provide an honest opinion and suggestion on a specific concern of a customer. For instance, if the customer might suggest and say, okay, why not you improve on your 3 days turnaround time? You could reduce it to 2 days, So, but a complaint would be everybody is doing, everybody, oftentimes complaints are always can be somehow exaggerated. So now, but let's stay within the context here. Complaints is an expression of pain and dissatisfaction on the specific concern. So a customer is giving you a complaint, which means they are expressing their dissatisfaction, their pain points. They're expressing them to you, and with regards to a specific concern. And if you weigh these together, you'll find out that indirectly you are getting feedback from that complaint as well. So you can source feedbacks from complaint. So that is why I wanted you to take some time to understand the difference between this complaint and the feedback. You can draw some insights from customer complaints as well. You can draw those feedback from customer complaints. So now, secondly, the feedback provides information for positive development and improvement. Why for complaints? It expresses the feeling of resentment. So the customer expresses themselves, expresses how sad they are, how dissatisfied that they feel, or how they feel they've been let down, or maybe their expectations were not met. Then we move on to the next one that talks about a free expression of provision, a free expression or provision of critical assessment on an activity, a process, or a result. That's for feedback now. A feedback is also a free expression and a provision of critical assessment of an activity or a process or result. So this is for feedback. Then a complaint, finally, complaint stems from the place of grievance. So the customer is grieved, customer is aggrieved because there is a problem that is yet unresolved. A customer is aggrieved because there's a problem that is yet unresolved, or the customer is experiencing a difficulty using the product or the service of the organization. So now we're going to be concluding that particular section of understanding or the overview of service delivery. Now let's go on to now understand a customer. Who exactly is a customer? Because we're talking about service delivery service. So we know who exactly is a customer and what are the values. What exactly do we need to know about our customers? Now let's go on. I hope you're following along. Okay, so please, for the comments that are coming in and the questions, please hold on. Before we go into the next section, if in case you have issues with your hearing, with the sounds on your device, you might just log out and join again, or you remove your earpiece. You use an earpiece, or if you're using an earpiece, you can try removing an earpiece, whichever one it is. Then you can also check your network connection to ensure that the network is stable for you to get that. Now, I'll go on, but all the questions, reserve them towards the end of the section. I will take them more detailedly. I think that will be much better, so I don't get distracted with delivering this particular one. Delivering this training is very much important, and at the end of the day, we'll take the questions, because the questions are also important, so we help you understand the subject as well. So now, who is a customer? A customer is a recipient, a buyer, or an intending buyer of a goods or service or product of an organization. So now a customer also is, a customer can be an entity. When we talk about an entity, that can be an individual, a group of individuals, business organization. Now, when we say a customer can be an entity, now it can be a single individual, then it can be an association of individuals. For instance, if when like in a bank, you are as a person, you are a customer. Then, if you form an association with your friends and you open an account, that association of friends is a customer. So that they are a group of individuals who are also an entity there. Then I'm talking about a business, an organization. All these are entities. So that's why I would say a customer can be an entity that receives or consumes, buys, or intends to buy a product or service. I think that's very clear. A customer. Thirdly, a customer are persons within your serviceable reach. So within the serviceable reach of an organization, a customer are persons within the serviceable reach of an organization who are capable of affording the products and the services of such organization, and with the potentials as well of making purchases or patronizing the organization. Then we go ahead to talk about the values. What are the values of a customer? So I don't know, should I take the definitions of that customer again? Maybe I'll just take a repeat of the customer before we begin to delve into the value. So a customer is a recipient, a buyer, or an intending buyer of a service, product, or idea or from an organization. So they are a recipient, a buyer, or an intending buyer of goods, services, or idea from an organization. Secondly, a customer can be an entity. Entity in the sense that it can be an individual, group of individuals, can be a business or an organization that receives, consumes, buys, or intends to buy a product or service from an organization. Then, thirdly, a customer is persons, or customers are persons within the serviceable reach of an organization, and also which means that they have the capacity to buy the product, and they are willing and ready to buy the products of that particular organization. So that is the third definition of who a customer is. Now, what value do customers bring to an organization? If you're working in an organization now, what value does the customer bring to your organization? One, customers are potential market influencers. So meaning customers have opinion and customer can bring you more customers and customer can drive away from the organization more customers. Now, why do we say so? If a customer is dissatisfied, for instance, you must have had times when you were dissatisfied about a particular product, such that when you were angry, you told your friends, don't buy something from this particular place again. This is what they did to me. So you are more like you are demarketing that particular customer. This is because of what your experiences were. So meaning customers have that potential of influencing the product or the service of a particular organization. This explains the reason why in today's digital world, where customer organizations have to use influencers to as faces of their brand for the purpose of goodwill towards the brand. So at least the influencer have a large following that can influence the opinion of people that may have the less opinion of people who have bad experiences or who are trying to discourage people from using their services. So that's exactly that's for the point one. Then let's go to number two, to the value of a customer. So now customers are the one, for you as an agent or a service person, a service representative, the customers are the ones who truly pay your salary. Because the fact is that it's not actually your boss that pays your salary, it is the customer who pays your salary. If there's no customer, then there will be no job, and your boss will have no need to hire you. So meaning the person who actually even hired you or who pays your bills is the customer. So if you treat a customer badly, you're actually indirectly, the customer actually is your boss, and you're indirectly treating your boss wrongly. And it means you understand what that will mean. So if the customer eventually goes away, it means the customer is going away with what the option is going to use to pay the service agent or the representative um, on the long run or when the month ends. Then customers are the ones that pays the bills. So customers pay the bills. They pay bills for when we talk about the customers pay the bills, it is still the resources that the customer brings in that the auction used to run their day-to-day activities. The auction cannot continue to survive on loans or to use grants. Even if they get loans, they need to repay them. So they definitely need customers. And it is the monies that customers bring that they use to run the organization. Then we'll go ahead to talk about customers are potential or customers are free marketing tools. Meaning, remember the first one that dissatisfied customers will discourage customers from you. Then this first one is now saying that the same customers are free marketing tools. Very impressed customer or very satisfied customers bring in more customers to the organization. There are places where you have taken your friends to, if you can agree with me. There are places where you have taken your friends to because you love their services. I love the kind of food I ate in this restaurant. Let's go and try it. You like it. They didn't pay you, but you are doing a free marketing for that particular organization because of the goodwill you have gained through the excellent service that they provided to you. Possibly you when you got there, you were excellently entertained and everything was moderate. At the end of the day, you get to bring in even more customers to the organization through your goodwill. Then we talk about the fifth one. Customers are recommendation and referral experts. For instance, when somebody is saying, please, where can I get X, Y, Z from? If because you have had a good relationship or a good experience with an organization, you refer them to the place where you have used. And there are times where people will say, I think these people are doing, but I've not used their services, so maybe you can just try it. So that is what. But there are people who tell you can use this particular service. I've used it; they are very good. Exactly, that's what we are talking about here. Then finally, customers provide the feedback that is needed for process improvements, for product improvements, for product development and innovation. So if the option wants to make progress and improve, customers provide the feedback. Now, how does it concern you as a service agent? Now, remember you're the one interfacing with the customer. All this information is what you are going to take back to the organization, and they have to make decision on it. Now, that's why when anything that the customer says, you have to take them back to the organization. For instance, customer is saying that they would prefer that this is added to the service that is being provided to the that is being provided currently by the organization. So that if you don't convey those information to your supervisors and the organization does not act on it, the customers on the long run will find a competition that is willing to provide such services, and they will go on with and they will move on and put with them. Remember when we started, when we talked about what makes customers leave a business or leave a particular brand. That's exactly the same thing that we're talking about, feedback. So now, let's go ahead to the next one that talks about establishing the guidelines to establish reports with customers. Now, to establish a rapport, when you have a customer walks into the organization as a service agent. How do you establish rapport with this customer that has just walked into the organization? Then this is particularly working. Then we'll say even via a call, a customer calls in, we definitely will handle that in different or subsequent trainings, more especially like the call center training. So now, for this particular one, let's do the physical working customers. So when customers walk in or when customers approach you, you have to pronounce their names very well. Especially if you don't know their names, there's no point calling their names or pronouncing their names and attaching their title to it. Remember, you're not calling the customers by their first name. If you know their last name, you put Mr., Mrs., you can address them by that. You don't address customers directly that way. Then if customers have nickname and you built a relationship with that customer, you can always use that nickname. For instance, if like titles, if that customer is a chief, you definitely have as it's imperative that you use that title there. If that customer is a chief, you don't call the person Mr. or Mrs. You call them by that title. And if they are engineer, like chief, like engineer or doctor, I refer to them by that. You want to improve the value. You want to improve their sense of value. That's how you value them. So now, then you pronounce customers' name, more importantly, using their title, address them properly, then introduce yourself appropriately. For instance, if this is the first time you're meeting with them and they introduce themselves, maybe they say, this is my name and this is what I want you to do for me. You introduce yourself. So, and let them know what department you're working, this is what you're doing, what you can do for them, and what you have been designated to do by the organization. Then be genuine, be authentic, and as well as ask about the customer's welfare. For instance, the customer walks in, you want to exchange pleasantries. Now, it has to be moderate. You don't go asking them about certain private things. You don't ask them about private things. You want to just be moderate with what you're asking the customer. Then we'll go ahead to talk about practice active listening. So when a customer is discussing with you, listen actively. So these things will help you with improving your rapport. So not a customer is saying something and your attention is not there. Your attention is divided on a task that needs to be done. So what does on this fourth line? It is imperative. If you have a task and a customer walks in, you can gently request a minute so you can round up that task so it does not distract you while you have the attention of the customer. So the essence of this is not when you're having a conversation, then you have other distractions that is taking away your attention from the customer. It's just going to make the customer feel unwanted and feel undervalued. You don't want that for the organization, and the organization definitely does not want that. Now, when a customer is angry, which is the fifth one, when a customer is angry, always allow the customers express themselves freely. Don't bother interrupting them. Allow them to express themselves. Tell you, vent the frustration that they have felt with the service, maybe with the product or whatever it is. They want to tell you how frustrated they are about using the company's product or service. Then you go ahead. Then the next one is that you have to mirror their behaviors while they talk and also show empathy. So now, if you know that the customer is telling you or expressing their frustration and you're laughing, or you do not show that you truly understand what they are going through, so you have to mirror their behaviors and as well as show empathy that you truly understand what they are going through. Then finally, you have to restate what the problem is and give a commitment that you're going to deliver. You're going to work on the complaints that has been reported or whatever it is that the customer has come to you for. You give a commitment, give them a timeline, tell them what you're going to do, what needs to be done. But I think we're going to handle those other one subsequently when it comes to making promises to customers. Now let's go ahead and talk about the steps where you can engage. That's the steps to engage with customers, possibly in an oral conversation as well as a test conversation. Now, if it's an oral conversation, pay attention carefully. If you cannot hear the customers very well, it's imperative that you let them know that you cannot hear them very well. So you're not asking them to repeat themselves over and over. It can be very frustrating. Now, talk more of if the customer is already angry and you're asking the customer to repeat themselves, it is going to even more aggravate the issue. Then you have to use polite questioning, question them politely, find out exactly what the problem is, then you go ahead to resolve. Then attention to details. You pay attention to non-verbal cues as long as you're seeing them. Pay attention to the non-verbal cues, as well as if you're not seeing them, pay attention to the non-verbal cues in their words. For instance, they might tell you things, and at the end of the day, they are not saying all the things that transpired. So through your questioning, you can get them to say the things that transpired, and that will help you practically to understand what went on and how it can be resolved. Then, fourthly, confirm the request and then proceed to resolution. Always need to confirm what customer have requested for. So meaning a customer should not just tell you I want this, confirm that this is exactly what they want, reconfirm it again. So more like, okay, this is exactly what you have submitted and I'm going to do it for you. So more like you're reiterating what the customer has said, so that it's imperative that they see it. Though there are some, if it is a written documentation, it is much more easier because you don't need to do a confirmation about that, because it is written, it is documented. But for what the customer has said, it is imperative. And if they need to fill forms and sign off on it, then that is great. Then also, some organization, when in regards to oral conversation, they need to they use recording. So you have to record that call and submit. So it's imperative. That's the purpose of documentation. So the customer does not come tomorrow to deny and say, I did not, this is not what I said, or this is what I said. So now let's go on to talk about the test conversation. So now when it's a test conversation, what exactly do we do for this? So you have to read the line twice and ensure that you understand. So don't just delve into resolving the issue without reading through the line or reading through the text, the text that have been submitted twice. Then you go ahead to acknowledge receipt of such messages. Then highlight the customers, whatever the customer did, that's the key points in that complaint. When you make your highlights, then you go ahead to go ahead to confirm that, go ahead to highlight the key points, and at the end of the day, help the customer understand that you have gotten all the details that they have submitted. Then you go ahead to process and deliver on what the customer has requested for. Now let's move on to the concerns of customers with regards to products and services. Now, what exactly are the concerns of customers when it comes to products or services? Customers are concerned about product, concerned about pricing, the price of the product, the functionalities of the product, the experience they have using that particular product, the convenience of using that particular product. That's reliability. I'll take the list again, but let me conclude. I'll take the list again. Reliability of that particular product, compatibility of that particular product, then design of that particular product, performance, and finally the efficiency of that particular product. I'll take the list. There are 9 in total. So which is price of the product, functionality of the product, experience that they have using that particular product. Customers are always concerned about that. What experience am I going to have using this product? Then for convenience, using that particular product, is it easy to use, or do I need to? Is this thing frustrating? So then, can I rely? Is it reliable? Can I use this product? How long will it last? Can I really rely on this particular product? Then compatibility, design, performance, and efficiency. Then we'll go ahead to talk about the customer concerns with regards to services. There are also 9 listed here. When it comes to services, customers are concerned with transparency. Is the service transparent? Is there value for money? 2, is there value for money? 3, is the service agent fair, or is the organization going to be fair while providing these services? Fourthly, empathy. Do they have empathy towards their customers? 5, is there control? Do I have control over what I want and what I do not want? Hope I will not be forced by the terms and conditions to do what I do not want. That's control. Then 6 is that they have options to that particular, so I can either decide to go for this or go for this or go for that. So the customer has a lot of options. Then we talk about information, which is number 7. Does the customer have adequate information? So the customer is concerned about adequate information to using that particular product or service. Then talk about accessibility. Can they access, like for instance, can they access this particular service anytime that they want? Maybe like they wake up by 2 a.m., they want to use that particular service. Is it accessible? Or they want to use the particular service as early as 5 a.m. or as early as 6 a.m. Can they use it? These are more like accessibility. Example is more like banking solutions that now you don't necessarily need to wait until 8 a.m. to go to the bank, but you can transact even right at 2 a.m., 2:30, 3 a.m. early in the morning. Then finally is relationship. Is there a relationship with the organization with the customers, or is it more like once the sales are completed, the auction does not care about about relationship anymore. So once payments are made, the auction does not care anymore. So now I think we're getting ahead. Now let's go ahead to now understand what exactly are the expectations of customers. So we're on to the next portion of the slide, which is understanding the expectations of the customers. So now it brings us to customer expectation. So now I think okay, after the customer expectation, I will take a break, take some questions, then we will take the remaining two portions of the this particular slide. Hope that is great. Hope that is okay. Okay, so now we go ahead to customer expectation. What exactly is customer expectations? Well, we're going to be considering the customer expectations versus what they want and what they need. Now, the customer expectations are what they expect the brand, what they expect regardless to their interaction and the concluded discussion of service levels that they will receive in the future. So a customer, this is what the customer expects. So when a customer has an interaction with a service agent or with an organization, so they have whatever they are expecting from that particular organization is this is exactly that is what exactly the organization has promised makes what the customer expects from them. So there is a promise by the organization that we are going to provide XYZ. So that XYZ that the organization has promised is what the customer is expecting, regardless of whatever happens. So the customer expects that. So if you have told the customer we're going to deliver this XYZ service or XYZ product in 3 working days, this forms customer expectation. So that is an example of customer expectation. So customer expectation is not just from the skies. It is customer expectation is centered around what the organization provides or what the services and the product that the organization provides. So now we'll go ahead to consider the basic skills to understanding customer expectation. Active listening, like we've been discussing earlier, that by practicing active listening, you can understand a customer's expectation with regards to what the organization is offering. Now, let's take this from another perspective. Let's say we as an organization, we provide or we deliver a particular service within 3 working days, but the customer wants this particular service to be delivered in 2 working days. So this forms a different expectation from the general standard that the organization uses, right? So at this particular point, to clearly understand this, so that at the end of the day, you as a service agent do not continue to with the processing of the customer's order in line with the general standard. So they have to be documentation. So what the customer has requested for is documented. So now there's a mutual understanding, a mutual agreement between the customer and the service agent interfacing on behalf of the organization. So now it forms a whole new expectation. So that is very clear. I needed to make a reference to that a new expectation can be crafted out from the current standard or that is established by an organization. Then we'll talk about questioning. Questioning is a skill that is important with regards to understanding what a customer wants or the expectations of a customer. Then we'll go ahead to talk about that attention to details. So the 3 of them, active listening, questioning, and as well as attention to details. So now let's discuss active listening and exactly how do we implement active listening. Active listening is just a technique that is involved in paying rapt attention to a conversation without interrupting, to carefully understand in details or the details of that particular that particular communication, to understand the details or the information that is conveyed with regards to that conversation. So now I will explain that if you're going to practice active listening, like we're having a session now. Active listening means that you are paying rapt attention. What does it mean to have rapt attention? It means every single thing that is going to distract you, you take it out of the space. So you ensure, okay, that you have rapt attention so that you can understand what is being said, ask questions where you need to ask questions, and also provide maybe answers or feedback when you are also asked questions. So now, I think this is very imperative, because when active listening is not practiced and a customer finishes saying something and now maybe asks the service agent a question, the service agent now says, what did you even say again? So you can imagine how terrible that can look like. So you have to pay rapt attention and ensure that you understand what the customer is saying. Then let's take a second definition to active listening. Active listening is a practice executed by listening with full concentration to understand, analyze, respond, and remember what was discussed based on the verbal cue, even based on the verbal cue and the non-verbal cues. So now, meaning the essence of that active listening in this particular one I'm explaining now, this second definition says that you are listening, you are engaging in this conversation to understand what is being the information communicated that is being communicated, to understand it, to enable you analyze the details of the communication afterwards, respond appropriately, and also remember what was said. So it's not after the conversation is being, you have a conversation or a communication with someone and you just stand up from there. What exactly was discussed, you can't remember. So it means while you're having active listening, you have to make preparation to remember what was said, meaning you have a jotter to listen to what the customer is saying, or you have a jotter to engage with whatever the client is saying. So you're taking notes. So meaning you're going to be taking notes. That's exactly what this second definition is pointing out here. Now, let's talk about the features of active listening. So, meaning if you're going to practice active listening, you need to, one, be patient. You need to be patient to understand the customer, because there are times when customers themselves can be angry because of the things, or maybe their ways of the things that the way they have encountered the organization, they encountered the brand or the products, how the difficulties they have with the product or using the product, and at the end of the day they get angry. So in getting angry, it does not solve the issue, but the first person or the first line of contact to vent that frustration on is the service agent. So what the customer does is that they are going to be pouring out their anger on the frontline agent. So you don't get angry when the customer has become impatient. So now at this point, you're going to be patient to listen to whatever they're going to say, no matter how angry or furious they are. Then secondly, you have to pay attention to verbal cues and non-verbal cues. So these are the features of active listening. Then be neutral and non-judgmental. So if the customer is saying anything, it means that you have to be neutral and non-judgmental. Then the fourth one is you have to reflect on the conversation for you to effectively understand what was said. You have to reflect on the conversation. Then question for clarification. When you need clarification, you have to question. You have to question the customer and get the details that you need. Then summarize and provide feedback. These are key features for active listening. So if you're going to practice active listening in a conversation, now this time around, not necessarily with a customer, but more importantly, because you might even you definitely will need this while you are interacting even with your supervisors, your colleagues within the workspace. So you will definitely need this. You need to be patient. You need to pay attention to details, pay attention to the non-verbal cues. Then be neutral, be non-judgmental, reflect on what was said, then question for clarification, as well as summarize and provide feedback. Now, let's go ahead to the questioning. Remember, we talked about the three key ways, the three key skills. We talked about active listening, questioning, and as well as attention to details. So now this brings us to questioning. The ways questions that can be used. Four types of questioning. They are open-ended questions. They are close-ended questions. They are fact-finding questions. Then there are also feeling-finding questions. You want to find out the feelings of the customer. You want to find out, you want to get basic facts. So yeah, it's more like an investigative questioning. So you are trying to investigate what happened. For instance, if I am a customer and I come to you, and maybe let's say you work in a tech company and you have a banking app, and I'm unable to use the banking app. So those questions you're going to be asking me when I come to report my complaint. Okay, when did you use it? What did you do? Did you put this? Did you put your PIN? Did you do like, did you do that? All these are facts finding. You want to get those details so that they can help you with issue resolution. I think that brings us there. So now let's go ahead and talk about empathy in service delivery. Empathy versus sympathy. As a service agent, empathy actually means experiencing someone's feelings, that's someone else's feeling. Then sympathy practically means you're showing a pity. It's like an expression of pity towards the suffering or frustration of another person. So they are completely different. So now you truly understand how a customer feels means empathy. So you're showing, you're expressing that you truly understand. You've used this product. For instance, if someone is narrating to you the frustration that they view maybe with a particular service or a particular product, and if you have experienced such before, it is easier for you to empathize with that person because you've gone through this and you know how it feels to be frustrated by that particular product or service. So at that particular time, what you're actually doing is that you're empathizing with that person. But what you're showing pity is that, oh, it's a pity. I understand what you're going through. You understand what the person is going through, but maybe you truly do not understand how it feels to go through that particular challenge. That's exactly the difference between them. Then that is very clear. I think we go on to the next one with steps to improving empathy. If you want to improve your ability to empathize with people, you have to still pay attention to details. Like we're always saying, you have to listen carefully, but there's an expression of rapt attention. So not just that you're paying attention, but there's an expression of rapt attention, that you're paying attention to what that person is saying. Now, what we're saying, when we say pay attention here, we're meaning pay attention to the verbal cues and non-verbal cues as well. Then we talk about making their complaints your top concerns as a service agent. That's what shows that you truly empathize with that person. You don't tell the person, "Oh, I understand how you feel, and I know what." And at the end of the day, you don't even do anything about your understanding about how they feel. So if you understand how someone feels, the pain that they are going through, it means you will do something to help them improve or to help them stop the pain and the frustration they are currently experiencing. Then you have to be respectful and you have to allow them angrily vent. If they are angry, let them vent freely. You have to allow them freely vent their anger. Then, as well as at the end of the day, that you have to activate the resolution process immediately, right there. Not you are going to. You have to start it right away. That is what shows that you truly are empathizing with that particular customer. Then I think this brings us, let's take a pause here. I can take questions. Let me see, let me take some questions and in the next few minutes we'll continue from where we stop. So let the questions come in now. Let some of the questions come in, I will take them. Okay. Are there any questions? If not, I will continue with the presentation. Please, the questions has to be in line with what we have already considered. Okay, I think let me just go ahead and with the next one. And since the questions aren't coming in at the moment, let me continue and to the fifth, to the fourth one. And once we're done with the fifth one, then we can take the general questions there. So this fifth one, we want to understand, guys, we want to see how we can exceed expectations. Remember the third one that we talked about, as the third point that we considered was the customer's expectation with regards to the organization and how it can be resolved. Then now let's talk about the customer's expectation, exceeding that expectation that has now been understood. We have understood the customer's expectation. Let's go ahead and talk about the customers exceeding their expectation through feedback. So we're going to get exceed the customer's expectation through feedback. Now, how do we now exceed those expectations? One, there has to be a set standard for service delivery, a set standard and turnaround time for service delivery. Now, then secondly, you have to know your customers and find out what they need through that polite questioning that we talked about. So you have to know the customers and find out what they need. Then thirdly, you have to be transparent, you have to be authentic, and you have to practice effective communication. Now, remember that this particular training that we are doing is not specifically narrowed to only service agents. If you're going to be in the field work, you have any way you are going to be interacting with clients of the organization, you will need this, you need the basic knowledge that is being taught here. So it's imperative that you pay rapt attention to it. Then we'll go ahead to talk about gather regular customer feedback, and also as well as address their concerns. So now, meaning there's ought to be feedback, get feedbacks from customers, how more like a rating. For instance, now you find out that technology has even made it much easier, such that once you use a particular organization, it's easier for you to send them back a feedback to with regards to whatever it is that you have done. So you just rate them. For if you transact on a banking app now, you find out that you can rate them 3, 4, 5, or 2, 3, or 2, 1, whichever one it is. Then if you even social media apps like WhatsApp, you rate them. There are a lot of things that you rate. You use a customer service channel. You chat with their service agents. You have to rate them. So these are things like that improves and helps to exceed customer expectations. So meaning if a customer transacts today or engages with a representative today, and it was wowed, and possibly they rate like 3, or they rate like 4, or 3.5, or 4. So the option is now aiming, okay, how do we raise it higher to like 4.5? So what did we do to ensure that this customer was happy today? So we want to take note of the things that we did that made the customer happy and wowed them. So meaning we're going to do that and also improve on that. That's how we're exceeding the customer expectations. So now this the next one is more. Next and final one here is developing a customer-centric culture, and as well as monitor the competition's activity. So every single thing about the organization should be customer-centric and not centered on the customer's like on the payment of the customer or the customer's money. No, it has to be centered around the customer, meaning centered around the customer's well-being, centered around the customer's satisfaction, the customer's happiness, meaning a customer have to be happy, make the customer happy at the end of the day. They are living they have to live happily. Now, finally, we talk about that's on this particular one, exceeding the customer expectation. It has to do with planning, personalizing, and adapting. This one is for your supervisors, so you don't need to bother yourself with that. There has to be a planning for the customer. It has to be adequately planned. When that's the more like mapping the customer's journey, and as well as the touch points, how they're going to access the products or services of the organization. That's where the planning comes in. Personalizing this particular product, personalizing the service or the product, which is the next one. Personalizing it. So now the product or the service is personalized to the customer, not a generic one. Where okay, this particular one does not concern the customer, but you don't need to take it to them. So meaning whatever it's the customer gets to know or is brought before the customer is what they need. So you don't want to engage them with what they do not, does not concern them or they are not interested in. They're talking about adapting. Now, let me even stress a little bit on personalizing. We find out that even technologies that we use these days are even improving on personalization. For instance, if you go on social media, you're registering, let's say, for instance, you're registering on Twitter. Twitter wants to find out what your interests are, or even Facebook, they want to find out what your interests are. What do you like, the things that you like. You have to choose celebrities that you want to follow, people that you want to follow, things that you want to do. Exactly. These are the kind of things that help them to personalize your experience using their service, using the service of that particular app. That's exactly what we mean here by personalizing. Now let's talk about adapting. Now, adapting here helps it more like it's not the customer adapting to the organization, but it's organization or the service representative adapting to the customer, or a way is devised for the customer to adapt to that particular product or service. Now, does this mean? Meaning a variety is created such that the customer can choose. That's why I said this particular section is for the supervisors and the managers in the customer service section. So they have to devise varieties of products and services, a range, so customers can choose and easily interact or use any of the services that or consume any of the products that of their choosing. So they can always make a switch, possibly like they use this particular service, they want to upgrade to a premium. And if they don't feel like continuing the premium, they can downgrade or they can even upgrade a step further. So these are more like different features for adaptation. So that's exactly what this particular session is about. Now we'll go ahead to talk about feedback. This brings us to feedback. Customers' feedback. A feedback template needs to be created. So, of course, for your organization, there's definitely going to be a feedback template. And if there's no feedback template, then definitely maybe you can help them with creating a feedback template for the customer. But of course, if an organization is going to make progress or innovate in their services or products to their customers, they will need a feedback from the customers to know exactly what the customers want. Nobody wants to provide a service that customers will not buy. So if you want for an organization that wants to deepen the customer relationship, it means that they will have to consistently get feedbacks from from their customers. So now, one of the major things that should be content, actually a part of the content of the feedback survey or the feedback template will be to understand how the customers got to hear about the organization. You must have been asked one of those questions, maybe from different places, where they say, "How did you hear about us?" That's a feedback question. So you get to know, okay, was it through social media? Was it through marketing? Was it through banner ads? Was it through outdoor advertising? Or through their website, or through a word of mouth, referrals, recommendation? How did you hear about us? That is it. Secondly, this is on the list of the templates of feedback questions for customers. We talk about what attracted you to our brand. Okay, why do you love our brand? So more like this is why I love it. It is the turnaround time. They tell you why they choose your brand, why they love your brand. It could be an issue of the turnaround time or the pricing, or is cost effective, the quality, whatever it is they want to know, or even the quality of service from the representative can be what is endearing them to the brand, not necessarily other issues. Then the fourth one, we say, what would you like us to improve on? That's a question that majority of us must have answered on a survey from different organizations. When they give you a feedback form and you fill it, you see what would you like us to improve on, and you write quickly on those things. So then the next one is, on a scale of 1 to 10, can you rate your experience with us? That's when you see on those you see that regularly on banking apps, where you can rate, or even on when you use apps or use technology services that are driven by technology. You have to rate them maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, or a scale of 1 to 5, whichever one it is that is presented. Then, what do you like most about our service or about our product? So these things, the essence why these questions are being asked is not because you just want to get feedback or because you want to listen to stories. No, but this will provide insight to the organization in order to restructure their service processes or to improve on their products or develop a new kind of product that will attract customers. For instance, let's say that the people, there's what your organization produces is fruit juice. Now, They might say, okay, I love the brand because it gives me variety to different flavors of fruit juice. Meaning I could have apple, and I have apple, and I have strawberry. So now that tells the organization the fact that, oh, okay, so by creating variety, we attracted customers. Meaning we can add two more variety and see if we can attract more customers and also deepen their loyalty to the brand. So they might say, okay, we're going to add apple and we're going to add orange or to the mix of flavors that they currently have. So this is what feedback does. So then let's talk about the next question that could be asked on feedback. Say, did you encounter any issues using our purchase process? Now, more like you want to find out pain points about the purchase process. Some organizations' purchase process is very, very tedious. You have to stand on the line. Maybe, for instance, you go to maybe shopping malls, you have to stand on the line. After you finish buying what you want to buy, you have to stand for up to 1 hour to make payments. So that's a very big issue. So now, this particular place helps us understand the frustration they feel with regards to making payments for the purchases that they have made. Then it might also be that while shopping online, the payment there's always a failed transaction. So these kind of things will help the organization know, oh, maybe our payment merchant is not doing so well. We have to change and use another payment merchant to help them improve their customer experience. Then the next one is, have you referred friends, friends and family, and would you refer? Now this talks about goodwill towards the brand. So people might just be using, well, let us be using the brand. There's no alternative. That is, it might be a perspective. But to know truly that these people love the brand, they love what they're doing, they'll tell you, yes, I could refer. In fact, I've even referred a friend. That means they are in love with your brand. They love what you're doing. They love your service. So you know exactly now, you already know what you're doing right, and now they're already referring people. So this is a loyal customer. You want to also include them within your list of loyal customers that you would need to reward. Now, as a service agent, how does this concern you? Remember that you are the one interfacing with these customers and you are taking these critical feedbacks. So this critical feedback is what you will give to your supervisor. In fact, for every customer service team, there's always they provide these feedbacks. So you as an agent must prioritize that particular, you must prioritize the act of gathering feedback for the organization and ensure that, so it's not left for the organization to use to act on it and to improve processes or innovate their product or service. Now, I think the last one on this list says, have you used customer support? And if yes, on a scale of 1 to 10, can you rate it? So if they have used the customer support before, maybe like online customer support, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is it like? Do they like it? Do they not like it? Do they feel frustrating about that particular customer process? That support process. They will definitely will tell you, and you would use that as the details for your supervisors to improve on the service delivery. Now, continuing on this same feedback, so we'll move on to the next one. It says, how did you know about our website? So now, did they know about your website, that your organization has a website and they could use your website? So meaning, because some customers may not know that there's a website that can be used and they can get details, they can get fast services. So for instance, now take that you don't even know that there's a banking app, that XYZ Bank has a banking app. You don't need to come and queue every day in the banking hall. So you can imagine that how frustrating it will be. So the person has to transport from a very long distance only to come and get maybe XYZ amount of money. So but if they are to pay to another person, so you can imagine that they know, or they can even do this across your website. They can even download your mobile app and use the mobile app. So this will help the customer know, oh, there's a website. Oh, there's a mobile app. Oh, I could even use this short code. Oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do that. The organization has a lot of platforms that I could use. So I don't even really need to keep coming physically to the organization, to the branch location. So now, the next one, would you recommend us to a friend or family? Yes. So remember, we've asked that question before, but this is rephrased. So I won't stress much on that. Now, the third one says, What do you like about our product or service? Of course, they will give you those details. I've given a little hint on that. Then, did you encounter any issues using our purchase process? I've hinted on that. Then we'll talk about, did you meet did we meet your need with regard to the solution you are looking for? This is very, very important. So now, customer wants this, but did you actually meet that need? Remember, we're talking about meeting the customer's expectation, what they want. For instance, a customer wants somebody that can be delivering maybe that you work in a fast food company. So the customer loves what you're doing, but customer has a different need, and they want someone who can be helping them with an order. They don't need to be coming here every day. Right, the office is just the next street close to you, your workplace. But can they have like an agent that can be doing a food delivery service for them? So this is more like what it is. You're providing a great service for an order, but are you meeting a core need? So they have a need for someone that can bring it to the organization, even though they can walk to that particular location of the branch of the office, get the food that they want, but there's a need that they want, someone that can bring it to them, and they will pay for that service. So that's exactly what this question will do for them. So do we truly meet your need? So now they get to help you, or it can be rephrased, it can be asked in different ways that will help the customer even understand it. So they know, okay, I still have this need. I could make a request and see if it can be done. Then let's go ahead to talk about the next one. That's navigating through the website. There are some websites that is so difficult to navigate or to find something. But thank God these days, a lot of websites are beginning to add search buttons, so such that you can quickly search through their website and to help you. So if they with any website, any platform like an e-commerce platform does not have a search like a search engine or a search platform where you can search, then there's an issue where you keep scrolling through all the pages not to find what you're looking for. It gets frustrating. Then we'll move on to the next one. What would you like us to improve on? I think I've talked about this, what they would like the option to improve on with regards to the process. 1, products. 2, service. 3, very important that all these key 3 things are put in place, because the product might be great, but service is terrible. The process also to acquiring might also be terrible. And the process might be great, service is great, products may be terrible. So if a person say you have an excellent customer service, but look at some people have excellent customer service, excellent marketing, excellent everything, but the product is just terrible. So you don't want that. You can give a feedback to the organization when it comes to that, whatever it is that the customer wants the option to improve on. Because if any customer that willingly gives you a feedback truly wants the organization to survive, truly loves that organization, is truly loyal to that. Any customer, because most customers, what they will do, they just keep quiet and walk away. They don't even give any feedback. And without feedback, the organization works in the dark and do not know exactly where they are going wrong, why the customers are leaving. That's why most organizations pay so much to field research agents who go into the field, ask questions. So you see, this feedback is very, very strategic. If you know how much organizations pay to undertake surveys, find out details about their product, what they need to do, what they need to improve on. You understand that when customers give feedback, it's very imperative that you pass it across to the organization or to the management of the organization. Then I think that is all for this with issues regarding feedback. Now, the types of feedback that's categories of feedback, categories and types of feedback. We have onboarding experience feedback. Now, you can categorize the feedback, or the organization can categorize the feedback into different phases, like the onboarding process. When I'm talking about onboarding, when the customer prior to the customer coming into the organization and when they get to the organization, their process of those documentation. Like for instance, when you want to use, I'll give you an example using Twitter app. Now, when you download it, you just put in your they give you much options to either sign in and to register. When you want to register, there are different options to do the registration. So it's very easy, simple. You can decide to register by clicking just to register with your Google account, and instantly all the information are pulled from your Google account. You just put in your password and you're done with registration. That's so easy and seamless. That's where it comes in. So that feedback tries to understand when it comes to onboarding process, is it tedious? Is it rigorous to register on the platform, to be onboarded on the platform? There are companies where you want to work and the company has an app onboard customers, and the customers, they download the app to register on the platform. There's trouble, there's issues trying to register. They've been trying to register and it's not even registering. They are having issues. They have to start it over and over again. This you have to pay close attention to that or give information with regards to that. So this is a category of feedback. That's onboarding experience feedback. Then second is what? Ongoing satisfaction feedback. So like all that we've discussed, more detailedly about what we've discussed earlier is ongoing satisfaction feedback, where as long as the customer is with the organization, they keep getting feedback from the customer about how they can improve their products, improve their services to the customer. Then the next one is purchase or during purchase or transaction feedback. Remember, I made reference to an example where people go to shopping mall. You want to make purchases, it's very tedious. You have to stand in the line to make payments, or you want to locate a particular product or a particular in the shelf, and it's difficult to locate. It's not well labeled. They are not well arranged. They're not in a section. Then, or maybe they're even in that shopping mall, the rack, the way it is, the racks are very high, and there is no attendant that can help you bring down so they do not consider height of people, the average height of people. So it's more important. So this particular section of feedback will help the organization get the experiences of customers during purchase. I gave examples of that more. Now, during purchase, when it comes to, let's say, on the website, they have to use maybe a platform, and like, okay, to make purchases, they have to go through this particular one. It takes them to the next page. After this one, it takes them to another page. After that, it takes them to another page. Like it's endless. So that the option does not want that. It can be very frustrating. Just strictly check out. Take them straight to the payments page. Let them make payments and provide them with option. They can use USD. They can use banking transfer. They can decide to go make the lodgements in the bank. They can whichever way they want to use to make payments. So that purchase process is very important. Now, opinion and suggestion. Opinion, suggestion, observation. This is the fourth category where people can give suggestion. Okay, I think if you add orange and strawberry to the mix of flavors, it can be amazing. I would prefer orange and strawberry, but you're currently doing pineapple and you're doing, let's say you are doing pineapple, you are doing mango flavor. But I'm a fan of orange. Can you include orange? So more like opinion. They're giving an opinion, they're giving suggestion. So the organization can decide to open a new line for mango, a new line for, because I've interacted with an employer that got those feedback only two, because they were just doing only two flavors, and once the feedback helped them, oh, customers will even like this kind of flavors. So and instantly that expanded the line of the products of their product. They expanded their product line to new flavors. That's two new flavors were added to their product line. Then we'll go ahead to talk about the last, that's the fifth one, which is issue management and complaint resolution. So meaning this is categorized to issue management. That is, with regards to issue management, how were their issues handled? Were they handled with priority? Were they happy with the way their issues were handled? Is one thing that they brought their complaint to the organization, and how it was resolved is another thing. So if the organization does not take them seriously, such that they do not even they provide their complaint and the complaint is resolved 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after, it makes no sense. So they want to be very clear that you get feedback with the way the issues are resolved. Now they can even give feedback about that. They can even give a suggestion how to improve on the issue resolution. They might ask, okay, why not you deploy technology? Maybe they are not deploying, they can use technology for this particular one, or they can do this, or they can do that. That's where these things will come in. I think these are the 5 categories of feedback that we are working with, and I've made them clearly here. Now, finally, on this particular one, we're going to be talking about regaining the customer's trust. So now, let's say that the customer the customer has been frustrated with all this. You've gotten their feedback. So now, how do we now regain this customer's trust? Because the customer is already angry and is already considering the competition. what do we do as a service agent now? What do you do as a service agent to regain the customer's trust? Now, take ownership of the issues that was reported to you. Take ownership. Meaning, take ownership means that you are going to apologize as though you were the one at fault. You are apologizing on behalf of the organization. You are apologizing on behalf of the brand that you are going to fix it. Now, remember that you're not just going about apologizing and apologizing. It might be the customer's fault. So, but when it is expressly the organization's fault, apologize. You have to take ownership and apologize on behalf of the organization and and let the customer know what you're going to be doing. So now we'll go to the next point after you have taken ownership of the issue. And also, with regards to taking ownership, means it's not just only apologizing. It's about what you are now going to do. For instance, when you say you're taking ownership, it means you're not saying, okay, I'm going to tell my supervisor, I'm going to. So you're more like, this is what will be done, and I'm going to get this resolved. So that's ownership. So the customer is this level of confidence that comes up and say, oh, this person is like, I think I might consider the organization again with such level of confidence that you spoke with the customer and reassured the customer about it. So now, secondly, we talk about review and reassure the customer on that particular complaint. So like I said earlier, you're going to reassure the customer that this thing will be definitely resolved and you're going to get it done. Then thirdly, we talk about update customer on the progress that is made. For instance, have to let the customer know, okay, this is where we are now. So if you need to share screenshot, or maybe there's an issue, for instance, maybe it's a repair work, or it's maybe like a construction, or maybe a tangible product, or even if it's not tangible, but if you can share the level of progress that is made, it helps the customer to understand, oh, something is being done. For instance, if there are 3 different stages to the resolution, and you have done stage 1, stage 2, let the customer know that it is at the final stage. Meaning you have done stage 1, you have done stage 2, and you are at the final stage to delivering this particular thing, and it will be done. And you let them know, okay, and this stage 3, in less than 3 hours, it will be out. In less than 2 hours, it will be out. In less than 1 hour, it will be out. So they know. It is very, very reassuring for people. For instance, if you have issues with a bank and they tell you, oh, in the next 2 hours, this thing will be resolved, and within that 2 hours, it gets resolved, it reassures you. That's exactly what it does. So now, we go ahead to talk about the fourth one. Says be professional and courteous while you are discussing with the customer. So do not go unprofessional while you are having any conversation at all with regards to customers. Do not go unprofessional. I think that would be more like a way of rephrasing that. Remain professional all through. Then on the fifth one, practice active listening and pay attention to details. Like we already said, when you practice active listening, we already discussed how we can practice that active listening. So pay attention to details, to what all the customer have said. This will help regain the customers and reassure the customer again. Then request for feedback. After this has been done, you can request for feedback again from the customer. More like when this has been done, you ask them to go and use it again, so that they can give you their feedback if it is now working. So that is the feedback we are talking about here. Now the issue has been resolved. This particular feedback is now use it again and let me know if it is working perfectly well, if it's now excellent. That's exactly what it is. So this 6 points would help regain the customer's confidence and trust with regards to a brand and organization. Okay, I think that is that, and brings us to the end of that particular section. Now, moving on to the last module on this section, which is on customer service and satisfaction. So now, I'll give an overview of customer service. So what exactly is customer service? It is a process of managing the customer's need by providing standard and professional assistance throughout the customer's life cycle with the organization. I'll take that again. Customer service is a process of managing the customer's need by providing a standard and professional assistance throughout the customer's life cycle with the organization. So, meaning, like we have talked earlier, so customer service practically starts by listening with the ability to listen. So it starts with the ability to listen. Ability. I want us to make. I'm making reference on that. It's an ability to listen politely, politely questioning the customer as well to find out what went on, what they want, how they want it resolved. So these are also customer service. How customer service starts, as well as understanding the customer's request in order to adequately and effectively provide a solution. So customer service starts with the ability to listen, politely question the customer to find out and understand the customer's request in order to deliberately, in order to adequately and effectively provide a solution. So this is an overview of what customer service is and how customer service starts. Now, there are different modes of customer service, modes which organizations service their customers. And here listed is 8 modes that are more frequent, which organizations use to service their customer. In person is one. When customers have to do a walk-in or walk into the organization, that is one. The service is provided to the customer. So customers are serviced in person. Customers can be serviced, secondly, through chats, by chatting with the organization, chatting with representative of the organization. Thirdly, customers can send emails to organization. So there are people who respond to emails. There are organizations that are so large, such that this section is to chat, this section is to emails, this section is to calls. So there are different, so they might break it down. So then the fourth one is through call. Customers can request a service by making calls to the organization. They just dial their hotline and a representative have to pick it up. Then through social media, different social media handles. Customers have several handles, and a customer might, the option has several handles, and the customer might pick up any of their handles and reach out to them. Then we have the interactive virtual assistants that are being integrated these days by most organizations. They create interactive virtual assistants that customers can work with. Then self-service, that's customer self-service. An example of that is your mobile phone, where you have to dial numbers. That's you want to recharge, you have a self-service. You can dial this code, it gives you another prompt, it gives you another prompt, it gives you another prompt until you get the service you want. That short code is an example of customer self-service. So then even that interactive, that integrated customer service or interactive virtual assistant, like where you have to. An example of interactive virtual assistant is the new AI that is being going rampant now, where you think you are speaking with someone, but you are speaking with a machine or are speaking with a programmed computer and it gives you adequate answers and resolves the issues because it's working with artificial intelligence. Then finally, which is number 8, integrated customer service. Sometimes it might be an outsourced service by a third party handling their service delivery, their service processes, or interacting with their customers for them. Then, what's customer service and satisfaction? Let's understand what exactly, when we talk about providing customer service, are we actually satisfying the customers? It is important that we know that we go beyond providing customer service to providing satisfaction for the customers. So what exactly is customer service and what exactly is customer satisfaction? Customer service is a deliberate plan, an approach to provide service to customers of the organization. So it's a deliberate plan. So a plan has been mapped. So they map out a plan and a system to provide services to an organization. This is just like a daily routine. But customer satisfaction is different. Customer satisfaction is an adequate fulfillment of a customer's need, promise, or desire. It is the pleasure or gratification desire that is derived from such fulfillment. Now, with regards to the processes that was just set to service a customer fulfillment is different. So a customer satisfaction is now deliberate. So you want to make that customer satisfied. So it is more like it's driven by a mindset, driven by a culture, driven by the values of the organization. While the other one is just driven by the structures and systems that have been put in place, which is the customer service. But satisfaction is driven by the values of the organization, by their objectives, their aim, their goals, what they want to do, what they want to achieve, their vision. All this is what drives the satisfaction of customer satisfaction with regards to the organization and the customers. So now, secondly, we take customer service is about treating business patronage, that's business patrons, just the way you would like to treat you would like to be treated elsewhere. More like, okay, this is the way customer service is. We just treat customers like a script. There's a script that created for you. You follow that standard of service and you deliver that service to the customers. more importantly, I don't know if most of us have interacted with customer service agents where they're just following a script to interpret all that is just in that script is what they are telling you. The issue is there's no innovation. But customer service is deep. Customer satisfaction is different. When customers have a problem, you don't just copy and paste the issue resolution pathway and drop on them. No, that's not what it is. In that customer satisfaction, you have to make sure that this is tailored and is unique to that particular customer, to that particular issue. So the customer's problem is resolved. That is what leads or drives satisfaction. You don't just say, okay, this is how it is done and this is how it is. You just follow the process. This is what has been said. Of course, you're going to follow standards with resolving issues in the organization. Okay, so now this brings us to excellent customer service. We are rounding up. So excellent customer service here is meeting and surpassing customer expectation, or that's meeting and surpassing the expectation of a customer. That is what talks about excellent customer service. So if you're going to say that the customer service is excellent, it means that their expectations were met and it was surpassed. That is what excellent customer service means. Okay, and the benefits of this excellent customer service is that the organization will enjoy loyalty with those customers. So meaning the customers are not ready and willing to run away and go to the competition anytime soon. There will be a goodwill. They can easily refer their friends, their associates to the organization. Then thirdly, satisfaction. The customers are satisfied. So when the customers are satisfied with the services of the organization, where are they running to? They don't need to run to any other to the competition. So they are satisfied. Then the next one is repeating patronage. They will want to repeat patronage with the organization again. Then we talk about increasing spending. So the customer, you start, they want to, maybe they bought, let's say XYZ amount, they want to increase what they are buying next time, of course. So you can even upsell or cross-sell to a customer when they are satisfied or when the service is excellent. Then there's a non-stop widget, so they don't just abandon the organization and move on to someone else or move on to another organization. So they keep using the organization, the services of the organization. They keep using the services of the organization. So we move to the next one, which is recommendation. And of course, they will recommend the services or the products of the organization to their friends, their families, and as well as make referrals, which is the eighth one. They make referrals, they refer you. Maybe you want to ask, maybe your marketing staffs, when they go to their offices or they meet with them, they want to refer them to go meet with, talk to this person, talk to that person. They go and have a conversation and they close more deals. Then finally, brand advocacy. When a brand is hard, when there's crisis or when there's trouble for the brand, you see people who experience goodwill, who experience good services, excellent services with the brand, will come up and speak for it. Let's take, for instance, that's on this last point, this ninth point, we talk about brand advocacy. When an adversary comes up and wants to discredit the organization, people who have experienced goodwill with that organization will stand up and say, oh, it is not like this, so we have experienced this. We have done this. We have experienced goodwill. We have experienced excellent service with this organization. They are not always bad. Like people who want to make an organization look that all they are doing is always bad at the moment. Why it might just be a temporary problem or temporary issue, and they want to make it as though that's exactly what they have been doing every single day. So that is that. Then this is bringing us to a close, which we are going to be taking guide to guys positive customer service attitude. So as a customer service person, you're going to be meeting with different kind of people every day. People, remember, they are customers. So and they don't, like, more like, how do I put it, they have their they're coming with their own issues. So they don't owe you they don't owe you that they don't owe you that responsibility to come explain to you what they are going through. No, but you can, if you have a relationship with them, you can come, you can ask them. You can. That's where you can ask. But this time around, you have to just resolve whatever it is what that they came for. So, but now, as a customer service person, there are key 8 attitude that you will need to help you remain successful in this particular role, which is tenacity. One, tenacity is very important. You ensure that you remain tenacious. Secondly, problem solving. You have to be a problem solving person, have a mindset of providing solution all the time. So it's not like we don't do this, we don't do this. And oftentimes, most of them don't want you to use that word, we don't do this. Let me see what I can do about it. I think that would be a much better way of saying it. So if they say, do you do this? We don't do this. We don't do this here. We don't do this here. It's not very much palatable. So you can always find out from your supervisor if it can be done and the rest of that. So now talking about active listening. Thirdly, active listening is very important. We stressed on that already. Professionalism. Remain professional all the time. Don't at no time should you not be, should you be unprofessional with speaking with your speech or with your relation with the customer. Remain professional. Then positivity. Be positive all the time. Show empathy. Then 7, that's be ready to handle surprise. When I'm talking about surprise handling, this customer might just be laughing with you just right now, and all of a sudden they change their mood, and they become angry, and they begin to bring out a different personality. So you must be ready for surprise, to handle surprises. That is one. Secondly, there are customers who are fraud intended. They have fraud intents. So you have to be ready for that, for surprises.